What is up, my friend? This is Jason. So here's the deal. Last year, I took a 2-month road trip across the US, hit a bunch of national parks, slept in my Jeep on a bed platform that I built from scratch for a couple of $100. Worked out great, had plenty of room inside the Jeep. But what I ran into was, on rainy days or dreary days, I'd end up staying inside my Jeep and not go out of my Jeep at all because I didn't have a good shelter set up. So awnings online for RVs or Jeeps or trucks are running like $400-500 plus up into the thousands, and that doesn't necessarily include the hardware that they're coming with. I'm looking at them like, man, that's kind of a luxury. It's not a need, it's more of a want. I can take a tarp, I can string it up to a tree. That's the easy answer. But I wanted something a little bit more functional that works with my Jeep, easy to set up, super quick. So I'm like, I can build one of these things. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to build a simple awning bracket for your Jeep or your SUV roof rack that looks good, it's easy to use, and most importantly, under 75 bucks. So let's dig in. I'm going to show you the parts that we're going to use for this, and yeah, dig into the build. All right, so first things first, here's the parts we're going to use to build this thing. Have a 1-inch square extruded piece of 6-foot steel, about 20 bucks. 2 3-foot by 3/4 inch pieces of extruded steel, about 10 bucks each, so another 20 bucks. In case you haven't guessed, then we have essentially telescoping tubes. We're gonna make those tubes and everything look sexy with some matte black spray paint, primer and paint in one, so that this blends in real nice with the Jeep roof rack. Hopefully we're barely gonna notice that this is there, except for whenever we have a tarp attached to it. 6 bucks. Have some 1.5 inch and 3/4 inch heat shrink, about 8 bucks total for these 2 packets. And why I got these is that I don't want a lot of metal to metal contact. So where these bars attach to the roof rack, where our other metal to metal contact happens, I'm gonna use this to mitigate any noises and just clean up the presentation a little bit. With that, we have these 3-inch by 2-inch U-bolts, about 2 bucks each, so 4 bucks total for these. And this is what we're gonna use to attach our bar to the roof rack. We're gonna clean these up real nice when we're done with some heat shrink around the edges and connection points. 4 locking nylon bolts and washers with some Loctite just to make sure that these are sealed up real nice and not gonna rattle on us. Bolts were like $1 total. Loctite was like 6 bucks, but this stuff lasts forever. So all of that adds up to about 65-75 bucks, depending on whether you have some of this stuff at home already or whether you choose not to use a couple of these components. Over and above that, you have your tarp. Obviously, you might have one of those laying around, you'll use it. I'm gonna use something a little bit more expensive. This is a Kelty Noah's Tarp 9-foot. I've been using these Noah's Tarps for about 7 or 8 years now. I love them to death. I'll show you later why this is important for me and why it makes my life a lot easier. That's it. That's all the pieces. Let's get to building. So this is why it's important to lay out whatever tarp you're using and check the distance between the grommets or whatever you're going to be attaching to before you make your specific build. Because while this is the 9-foot Noah's tarp, you can see that when it's laid out, it's actually about 9 foot 10 inches from corner to corner. If I measured the center, I'll bet you it's 9 foot center to center because there's a little bit of a bow to it. And you can probably see why I like these Noah's tarps so much. The guy lines are built in, they hide away. They've just done a really good job at constructing these to where it's all in one piece. You got everything you need to attach to a tree or put a post in this thing and attach it to the ground. Fold up real nice in their own bag. This one runs about 50 bucks. I'll make sure to put a link to it. so now that we have all the prep work done, painting's done, shrink wrap's done, time to hook it up and see how it looks. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out. Those rods come out whenever I'm not using it. They're gonna store under my seat with my posts. Honestly, this is probably gonna be hooked up to trees most of the time, so bungee cords, these guy lines, and only about 75 bucks plus whatever tarp you have, and plus some bungee cords for hooking this thing to a tree whenever you have it. You can get fancy with these aluminum poles. These things are awesome. I was super surprised whenever I got them how durable they are. They're like 45 bucks for the set of two. Most of the time a single pole is like 30 or 40 bucks depending on who you get it from. I'll leave the links to all of this. Check out the article. I'll go ahead and do all the measurements on this, fine tune it, and you can go ahead and get those from the website and make one of these yourself. Let me know in the comments if you have some tweaks to this. I was just shooting this shit, kind of winging it here. Happy with what I turned out with, but obviously there's some ways to improve upon this. So for those of you that are watching and have some tricks, put them in the comments, help the next person out who's making this. And yeah, I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.